Hello, hello. I'm assuming the intro animation didn't have any music on it because I muted it. Yay!
Good job.
God. I'm new, alright? This is the first time I've ever streamed. Alright, this is the first
Oh, right,
content.
right.
First content on the channel. Welcome to Heavyweight Gaming.
Heavyweight RPG.
Heavyweight
Never before
RPG.
seen on this glorious something. Can't say it in case they kill us again.
Yeah.
Also,
We've already been killed once, but we rise stronger from the ashes.
There can be only one. So, short
One
version.
RPG.
You were used to seeing us on the channel Heavyweight Gaming. Due to technical difficulties and my soul being sold as a child, I can no longer access that account. So we're having to start a brand new one. And thanks to the wonderful nerds that have so far put us up to 63 followers, we've only got 600 to go to match to catch back up on what was once a beautiful.
Oh, man.
Oh, we shall start the snowball again. So, session 45, the first session ever to stream. We like to start 45, thanks for that clockwork.
It's actually 46. So.
Is it?
Yeah, we're on 46.
I had thought we'd done 45 already.
Yeah, we're on 46. Oh,
fine.
man. Oh, scuffed.
Oh,
they're not paying attention anyway. Everyone's still too tired
There's
from
nobody-
listening
there's
to
nobody
7
actually
hours of a
here.
different
Right.
It's
D&D
fine.
podcast.
There's nobody actually here. That's 16. That's not actually real. That's fake.
It's just all the dummy accounts. Bots. We've paid a lot of money for these bots. Surely
Yeah.
yes, Uli, it's episode 1. Morning? You're on nights, I'll let you off. So, welcome to Heavyweight something. It'll always be Heavyweight. As you can see, the new channel is Heavyweight RPG. Please spread it around. Please share it. Oh, we got a raid already from Hey Charlie.
Hello.
From the
Hey,
Dice and
Charlie.
Behold a lot. Thank you very much, Charlie. We're just about to begin our epic first 46 session. So, I'll do some announcements that apparently I've never done before.
This is gonna be difficult.
So bear with us. We are not in a place yet that all the lovely things that are normally available to our previous channel. So you're gonna have to bear with our mods as they get links in and stuff. But let's go for it. Let's go for it. So social media, nothing's changed there. We're still the same place on Twitter and Facebook and such. So you still go find us there and still find out what's going on. Obviously, the channel URL has changed. We are sponsored. We are sponsored by Loke. This particular show is sponsored by Loke Battle Mats, award-winning artists of great maps, absolutely ridiculously good at making their maps. They do flip-out books, A3, A4, A5, I believe, and they are literally battle mats that you open up, put on your table, and boom, you've got tundras and mountains and arcane circles and dungeons and sewers. They did a Towns and Taverns Kickstarter that was really successful, which is exactly what it says on the tin, taverns and town maps. They recently did a wilderness one, which was again very successful because they're really, really good at what they do. Mondays they stream, and I'm pretty sure if it's just Loki Battle Mats on Twitch, you could probably find them on a Monday streaming what they're planning to release and such. Good evening, Dice and Beholder. So go check out Loki Battle Mats. They're really, really cool. They also do digital versions of everything. So whether you're using Roll20, Virtual Tabletop, any other VTTs, go drive through. Some are free, some are pay what you want, and some are obviously a set price. So go tap them up. Really, really good at what they do. And also, I believe they do a handful of cyberpunky sci-fi maps as well. So go grab them. Lucky Battle Math. Coyote Grey. If you see us doing our Roll20 fights and such, we use chibi tokens of a artist known as Coyote Grey. They're only on Roll20's marketplace. So if you go to the marketplace on Roll20, search Coyote Grey, you will see all the chibi pack tokens he's released so far, all fantasy except one which is a cyberpunk pack, and there's like 50, 60 tokens in each. I bought them all. $4.99 I think it is per pack. Ridiculous. If you play your play your games over virtual tabletops, they are absolutely amazing to use. I'm pretty sure you just download them and you can use them on other virtual tabletops. Go check him out. Unbelievable. And he's doing some other stuff as well. And he's looking to possibly do a giveaway of a person's character token, so that'd be cool. So we have Ashana, who I've yet to inform I've moved channels, because that may have slipped my mind. But Ashana streams most of the time we do, so we tend not to be able to watch each other, then we catch each other every now and then, but we try to raid afterwards if she's on. She's a glass crafter as well as a war crafter and basically a geeky geologist, but she's really passionate about what she does, so if you're into geology, go check her out. If you're into glass crafting, or even just amazed by someone's ability to create something from nothing, go watch Ashana. It is the most zen stream I've ever witnessed. She's really nice to everyone. She embraces everyone in her community, and she makes some really, really cool little figurines. So go check out Ashana. Now, the OnlyFans part of the sponsors, Ruffworx Creative. If
Oh no.
you want to see... If no, I can't say that.
Word it correctly.
So there's a few words came to mind, and I was like, if you really like woodcraft and leathercraft, go check out Ruffworx Creative on Facebook. Check out his photo album. Nothing is ever reproduced. Everything is made with blood, sweat, and tears. Bare-handed, bare-chested. He's growing a beard. He's doing well at it. Bless him. But unbelievable craftsmanship. Just go check out his stuff. He's also responsible for the incredible Dungeon Master screen that I've yet to be able to use on stream. But if you go check out Heavyweight Gaming at Facebook, you'll see the video of me unboxing it. It is beyond stunning. It's got lion cub carvings in the leather and all sorts. It's really, really cool. Go check out Ruffworx Creative. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the 4. If you go to Drive DM's Guild. DM's Guild? If you go to DM's Guild, there is Tasha's Heavier Crockpot of Bits and Bobs is a 5th edition supplement.
Got it.
That was created by lots of geeks that are friends with myself and Arcane himself. Lots of artwork from our friends and fur around us. Really, really incredible piece of geekery put together, basically. Go check it out. If you want 80 pages of subclasses, cool artwork, new spells, 80 of them, you go check it out. It's ridiculous. It's pushing 200 copies sold. I was telling everyone it had sold over 200 copies. I've been informed. I'm a liar, so I'm just correcting that it's nearly 200. So go check it out. We do use, for all our background music, which you will hear as we go, Syrinscape.
Oh no.
Well, what have I done? Wait, you can't say that.
Panic.
You can't say that, man. I'll get through this as quick as I can, guys. I do apologise. So, we got Syrinscape. We use it for all our ambience, all our background music. 2 things it's brilliant for. 1, creating exactly that, an ambience. If you're sat around a table, you've got a tablet next to you, or another laptop, or whatever, excuse me, and you're playing the music, it creates the ambience. It's an unbelievable piece of sound tooling kit. Go check them out. And if you play online like we do, your players can get an app. I think it's something as daft as Syrinscape, down.
Syrinscape online player, so
Syrinscape
Google is
online
telling me.
There you go. If you download it, whoever's hosting the game can invite you all in, play the music, and then you can all hear it through the app on your said machine. So you can turn it up as loud or as quiet as you possibly want. And that's what I followed. Thank you, whatever dude. I will map. I mean, it's a good name. So go check it out. The online player, it's absolutely brilliant if you're trying to create an ambience across, online and everyone's in their kitchen, living rooms, bedrooms. It's really, 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 really cool. Go check them out. They are amazing, and more people should use them, basically. And they reach out to other sound creators and pull their sound sets and stuff to obviously put them in one place so everyone can use them. So yeah, all good there. What else? We've got a charity stream. Jesus, we've got a charity stream coming up. Right now, this is big and important. 2 reasons. 1, we get giveaways, which is really cool, and it's good stuff for us, geeky stuff, and it's really cool that the community will throw in. And 2, we get to raise money for a really cool charity. The charity is McIntyre. You can see it just under me. The McIntyre charity provides support for over 1,200 people, kids, young adults, and adults with autism or literally need support in their everyday life for whatever reason that may be. So any money we can raise from, bear in mind, in the last couple of years we've raised over £4,000 for charity. And every year we do a bit of a sesh, a bit of a gaming sesh, whether it be 24 hours or 49, and we raise a few quid for some charities, and hopefully we can help them. So hopefully, because I tell you right now, I'm not running, swimming, you know, anything towards marathons, try anything that's got athon in it, I'm not doing. All right, but I'll.
What about a bath of beans?
I don't like beans, but if it's a bath of gravy, I'll sit in that for weeks.
Yeah.
For free. We don't even have to raise money for charity. I'll sit in it for free. So,
Oh no.
there is a link. If you follow the Just Giving link button under the stream, it'll take you straight to the donation page. Throw a few quid in if you can. If you can't, don't worry about it. I guarantee one of your mates has got £5 on them. Take it off them and donate it. Streamathon? Oh, yeah, all right, Charlie, you got me.
Yep.
Right, so for the giveaways so far, every £5 you donate, please put aside your donation what you're actually putting your name in the hat for. So I know which hat to put you in. If you haven't, you should be able to DM me and I can sort it. Every £5 you donate, you get put in the hat for whatever it is you're after. The things we have at the minute, we have some dice from a dice company called Blink Dog Dice, who if you go onto Twitter and such, you can find them, or Etsy. They make dice, they throw in a few in, they sponsor the Dice of the Older Show on a Sunday. Go check them out, really cool small business, and they're throwing in dice, which is great, and you get a chance of winning them. Loki Battle Mats themselves are throwing in a giant and big book of battle mats as a giveaway, the physical copy. So you know, you get a chance of that. D&D Beyond are throwing in 2 copies of Van Bryan's Ravenloft guide. What is he called? Lichen?
Van Richten.
Van Bryan.
Yeah.
If D&D Beyond asks,
Jeff's Ravencroft guy.
Jeff and Brian's crazy adventures across Ravenloft.
Raven.
Tell Rob it's the next source book.
We've got two copies of that to give away. There is rumour that they may have a bigger prize for us, but I will confirm said rumour before announcing it. What else we got? There is, I think, a Bardic Inspiration are throwing some in. If you haven't checked out Bardic Inspiration already, they sell dice, candles. I didn't think candles would be a thing. I honestly didn't, hand on my heart. But they're having them around you lit and that smell ambience. Is that right? What,
Ambience, yeah.
Ambience. Oh wow, that burnt. Really cool to have in the room.
Just reminded me to light my candle.
Van Bryan is an amazing name. Having the candles around you when you're playing a game is so immersive. It's even if you're not playing a game, just to chill out. And these guys sell some really, really cool smelling candles, and I hate smells, but our lass is obsessed with them. She buys them, and they don't have to put me in the zone for gaming and such. So go check them out. Check out the dice. Check out the candles. They've got loads of other little trinkets and stuff you can buy. You should buy all their stickers because I'm on at least one of them, and pins. Go check out Bardic Inspiration. Do we have a link? One of you must have a link for Bardic Inspiration, man.
I mean, that one I can do.
I was going to say, I'd be really surprised if Mel didn't have a link to Bardic Inspiration.
That one I can
I'd be
just type
shocked.
out.
I would be appalled. You know, I'd be shouting fake news.
What
So-
if she spells it wrong? No, it's fine.
What if she spelled
You think you'd be mad if Mel didn't have a link for Bardic Inspiration? Imagine how Luke would feel.
I think,
That's true.
I think that's everything, is it not? Cool.
Believe so.
I do apologise
Yes.
for the long intro, but we're new to this. First time we've ever streamed.
So,
So
we like
yes.
to make fun of our situation here with
Oh.
Heavyweight.
Yeah.
laugh and cry.
Laugh, you
You
lose.
go- By this time next year, we'll have 7 different heavyweight channels.
Jesus Christ, don't
So
say that.
also look to the future for Heavyweight Gravy, HWG. It's going to be there. I've got 5 years to make it happen. It's happening. All right, just keep eyes out, kids. Eyes out. Right, let's do a recap. The one thing we've all been waiting for.
Yeah.
So this
Oh.
lovely.
Quick question
I-
that we had in chat. Bear
If you
with
pay
me.
25
Rerolls.
Oh,
Rerolls. How do we
rerolls.
want to do rerolls? Because we don't have
Yeah, we can't
thingy.
do
I
rerolls.
said maybe get some more followers.
More followers.
Get some more followers.
But everyone's going to
Harry
claim the
roll.
followers. Hey up Northbourne. Hey guys.
Hey,
Nice
there you
to
go.
meet Thank you
There
very
you go.
much. Thank you very
See?
much, Northbourne. Well, you can't just give a reroll just because Niall got a friend of his. Like that's not. Like, you'll have. What
Hey,
if we get like 200
Niall
followers?
gives us money and we have them. What's
Yeah.
the real
Yeah.
difference?
The-
Niall,
difference.
send me money and they can have rerolls. I don't think we can allow
PayPal.
bits at the minute because we're not affiliated.
No.
So unfortunately, these lot don't get rerolls.
We just need to
That's-
die.
That's
Oh
how it is. That's
man,
how
we're
it
just
is.
gonna have to perish,
Just
guys.
quickly to answer Uli, if you pay £25 can you just get put in for all the draws? It's £5 a shot, mate. So if there's 10 prizes, you know, every £5, just tell me what draw you want in for. That's it. That's all you need to do, mate. So
the answer is
£25 will get your name in 5 times. I just need you to tell me where you want your name put in, mate. And as more prizes get announced, etc., etc. But thank you very much. I'm expecting you to donate £25. I'll just say.
You've opened your mouth now.
You should have said £5. £25. So, recap. Let's go. Right.
Let's go.
This lovely bunch of coconuts. They are
Diddly.
currently in the realm of Tahoro, which is also known as the realm of Echoes. They were in the Great Ivory Wall of Ravenholm. Shit went down. A siege happened. There were demons, devils, fiends, air elemental armies, the spirit of an ivory dragon, a dragon soul binding. There was a soul forge, a soul anvil. There were geckos in water. Oh, it was incredible. Go watch it on our YouTube channel. But it's still the YouTube channel. Unbelievable, really cool stuff. They got to Ari's family abode. After fighting their way across a bridge, some MVPness from the druid Arubi, dispelling the super powerful area effects. I was most upset by that. But yes, you made it into the abode of the Rycrofts, the Rycroft residency. Ari had a bit of a coming together, a nice with his mother and father, but the evacuation had been called of the wall. Bear in mind the wall from south to north is 2 days long. So this evacuation is not a simple 30 folks rushing through a forest to get away from a baddie. This is a wall 2 days long, and that amount of people evacuating is going to be a mission on its own. However, Stefan, the brother of Ari, they are already aware that some magic was used to shatter the person that is Stefan, to shatter his echoes, and he dips in and out. What Ari wasn't expecting is when he entered his grandfather's room, there was a selection of people there. On the bed was Nikolai, the old swordmaster teacher of Ari, and Stefan, both of them unconscious. It quickly was explained to them that Nikolai and Stefan were in the realm of Tahoro, and Stefan had some sort of plan to help fix his shattered echo situation. With the attacks happening and the evacuation having to happen, thank you very much to all for you. Ari and the Coconuts, which is my new band, agreed to stay and travel to the realm of Tahoro to try and help find, save, etc. Stefan and Nikolai. They broke the magic mirror and travelled there. However, as they were travelling there, Ari's mother stonewalled them in and gave Ruby a scroll that would allow them, once they returned, to travel to any tree that she so wishes, as long as she is familiar with it. You got to the realm of Tahoro, you walked across the fields of silence, and you encountered a few alter scenarios of yourselves, of those around you. Some were more personal than others, and a constant cawing of crows and ravens high in the sky. The field
Fields
itself,
of silent were not very silent.
it's ironic. The field, his 90,000 gravy boats all gone. Sorry, Dwarf. The field of silence itself came in a visual of a sodden, muddy and bloody, heavily waterlogged battlefield. Upon it, you met Akarian, a younger version of Akarian, but one that still remembered you from the time you had on the material realm you've just come from. He guided you to a town of the town of Kitharion, where you managed to rest for the first time in 17 sessions, even though this is the first session. You got a long rest in. You stayed at the Takurua Tavern. I'm so glad I came up with these names. At the tavern, where all the folk that are travelling through this way station village of their echoes passing through and moving on to other places. You rested, and you got to again bump into echoes of people you knew, people you don't know, people you could know, and a bit of a historical, what do you call it? Akarian's old flame in Ashaldria the First Ash. You did a bit of a chin wagging, and you've discovered that Oro is the somewhat leader or custodian of the folk that seem to be native to the realm, who are donned in tattoos all over their bare skin. One half of their face, the other half is tattoo free. They have thick hair bunched up and tied, and they walk around with very long oaken staffs, or oak, wooden, various flavours of wood staff that seem to envelop a mirror at the top of these staffs. Whether they be tall, short, young, the staffs that they carry are all perfectly sized to said person. You've left the Takuro and you are now looking for Oro. As you leave the Tavern of Takuro, you walk out onto, and as you noticed before, the first thing you notice is the sound. Here we go, Syrinscape. Don't let me down. You start to hear the busyness of a street in the towns you've been in. There is murmuring, you hear passing carts, happy town life. Yep. It wasn't there when you first entered this town. Visually, the town is all green trees, various shades of green throughout all of the fauna here. In fact, if you look at my background, it's very similar to that. There is a canopy where they all bunch overhead, and there are gaps in the canopy where the beams of light shine through. All the pathways are very natural. But when you look down, it's as if the roots have hit something solid and can no longer grow. So you have that smooth path, but everywhere you look, it's all natural. There's no dug roads or created roads. It just seems like the roots of these trees themselves have deliberately made way, or decided not to go across that way to allow a pathway through this town. All around you, the natives of the realm, even the younglings have tattoos, except across one side of their face. It seems everyone's going about their business as if you were in a town. There are what appears to be some sort of blacksmith, small market squares, a town hall of sorts, all integrated with the trees and fauna, all various shades of green, from super dark, I think I described it as dark angel green, which, if you know 40k, cool. If you don't, it's a super cool colour, Google it. Or use a browser, you know what I mean, whatever. Get sued by Google, come at me! So, all shades of green right up to very pale powdery green colours. Ahead of you is the only path you know that is not the way you came. But there doesn't seem to be an obvious away from the town onto anywhere else. Ashaldria did tell you she's informed Oro of your... She claims she'd already introduced you, or made him aware of your introduction to come. There is music playing from some unknown source, but it does sound like you are on a main street. 3, 2, 1. Over to you guys. Happy Pride Month. I meant to say that at the beginning. Just get it now.
Let's say
Cool.
Let's try not to get too distracted from what we need to be doing here. The sooner we do what we need to do, the sooner we can leave.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, as
So-
Zandria says that, Sapphire is like taking
No-
a few steps
no-
away and turns back and goes, "Yep, you're right. Of
No
course, you're right.
detouring, Sapphire.
Nope, focused on this. Yes."
Will magic work here, do we think?
Not sure. I don't see why not.
Hopefully we won't need to find out.
Well, because I think I have a spell for finding people.
So
Okay.
you could find Stefan and Nikolai.
If it works.
I mean, it's worth a try if you're willing to do so.
Are you being honest though? Are you being honest with yourself?
as an experiment, and not because I'm choosing violence,
No.
Ruby casts Shillelagh. Just to see if it'll work.
Roll a d20 and add your wisdom modifier to it.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
It's alright, this is a party of wisdom, not intelligence.
Speak for
16.
yourself.
Say again, Jeannie.
16, 1-6.
Cool. You summon forth your druidic link, run your hand over your staff, and you see the spell Shillelagh take hold, and the magic hardening it into a magical weapon.
Okay.
Well, that looks like a good
seems to
sign.
be. Just finding the right card. That's Ruby in character. That's Ruby rustling through packs and looking for things. I am going to cast Locate Creature.
Okay. Let me.
That's a horrible thing to call Nikolai.
Maybe it was Stefan.
Stefan's a bit more.
I can't believe you defended.
Yeah, I was going to
Nikolai
defending
over your
Nikolai,
brother.
not Stefan.
We love Fantonio.
Describe a name or
Yeah.
creature that is familiar to you. You sense a direction. 1,000 feet. Quick over to it. Cool. Who are you trying to locate? Stefan or Nikolai or somebody else?
I name Nikolai on the basis that he is a stronger beacon than Stefan's.
Whole situation. I knew what you meant. Whole
Yeah.
situation.
His
yeah.
broken spirit soul being, yeah.
He's having a hard time.
You
Mood.
slowly tap the staff on the soft earth beneath your feet. Your eyes close. You focus on that image of Nikolai. That grin from ear to ear. Flowing, oily black hair with a grey in the sides.
Sudden kiss.
And you are unable to locate as you reach out with your druidic magics. There is no centre or pull towards where Nikolai might be. So one of three things. Either they are beyond 1,000 feet, they're under the effect of a polymorph, or there's at least 10 feet of running
Of
water.
water. I relay this information to the rest of the party that I feel no beacon. They're either beyond the spell, polymorphed, or there's water in the way.
Maybe
Well-
they're a bit further away.
Yes, I was about to say, let's hope that they're just further away and not the other two options.
Well, from what Shaldria was saying, this oral person will be our greatest guide, so I believe if we just keep going forwards, we should hopefully come across them. That seems to be how this place works.
If we want to try again later, I can try that one maybe once more before resting, but I have a lesser spell which helps me find objects. If we know of something one of them had, that when we've travelled some, maybe we get closer to them, that might help us later.
Okay, well, let's continue walking for now, and then maybe we can discuss trying your spell again when we've got a bit further in. And I'm sure you would say something if you knew anything called Carrion.
Yes. And you notice that he's still absent-mindedly looking back towards the Takura Tavern.
I just, I like, get up in his face. No, Carrion.
Yes, I'm here, girl.
Are you really?
You can see me, can't you?
Well, I can see you.
Sees
Yes, I
Andrea
can
like
see your
staring,
physical
staring
you.
up at his chin.
Yes, Olcarian, I do see you. However, I'm fairly confident that your eyes and your mind are wandering.
It's just temptation, girl. I'm here.
Yes, you would know all about temptation, wouldn't you?
Rhea.
I'm messing with him, Kess. And he knows that, and he gives as good as he gets anyway.
Mind the trees.
Let's keep walking.
So you keep walking. As the path winds through this representation of a town through these green trees and roots and fauna, it starts to thin out. There's less structures and buildings and not necessarily organised, but you can see the elements of a town start to fade slowly away. The sound of the market street starts to dim, and then you hear the buzzing of flies, the eerie sound of emptiness, and before you on either side of the path, it's as if you've walked a long way and got to somewhere new, but you've only just left the main street of this town, and when you turn just to check, the town is gone, and it's the same in the other way. Empty, plain, nothingness. The ground around you resembles that of the Field of Silence, the muddy, waterlogged ground, but there are bones and blackened feathers and really dark blue feathers, the odd white, scattered in all directions around you. Ruby, give me a nature check. The rest of you, give me a perception check.
I've put these stupid bloody stars everywhere.
16 again.
16, cool. Perception checks?
23.
18.
18, 23, 23. Cass?
18.
18. Cass, were you a 23? Cool. So, all of you, Ruby, I'll get to you in a sec, you spot almost like beaks sticking out from the mud. Half wings, all large in size, that of a small, medium, maybe even a large creature. They're not the size of your usual avian friends that you see flying around the cliffs. You see bones, you see pools of black, sticky tar substance all around you, and you notice now that the trees have slowly, every time you turn, there's less and less of the trees, and you see more and more of this field, this waterlogged field of what seems to be avian death. Ruby, you feel awful in this place. You are quickly looking back over your shoulder several times to confirm the town's behind you, and there is an element of not necessarily safety, but an element of noise and difference. For where you walk now, you feel nothing but death. A leaving of life. You are, the only time you've ever felt this is when you've been in the small cemeteries and graveyards of the Tone Highlands. And they are very small, and they are very personal and intimate. There is not mass. This is a mass grave. All around where you look, hundreds of feet in all directions. And the path ahead of you is half sunk into the waterlogged mud, but still winds. And then you notice just ahead of you, about 50, 60 feet, it winds in different directions. But again, it is almost forced into the waterlogged mud.
Ruby shivers and sort of, as discreetly as she can, disguises the fact that she's like swallowing back, retching, and grips. She's let the shillelagh spell go, obviously, because she cast another spell since then. She hasn't recast it, but she's gripping the staff in a stance, almost like it's a ward or a comfort against what's around her.
Okay. What are the rest of you doing?
I don't think I need to point this out, but I feel we should be cautious when walking through here. Be on guard.
Sapphire's gonna pull the Iron Rebuke from his back and hold his Naginata out in front of him. Yeah, everything about this feels wrong.
Harry just keeps focusing on the bones and the bodies, and it's just like trying to keep an eye out if there's any humanoid, bad as it sounds, because he's just like
Okay.
I think Kess will, upon seeing just the sort of overall discomfort going across the party, will kind of have slightly rearranged them subtly as they move their way down, so like Ruby's more towards the middle of the pack, etc. And then mostly keeping an eye out for any movement, because this is not the place you necessarily want to see movement.
Okay. As you continue forwards, you notice that Akarian is now eyes all about. He's got a slight crouch to his stance, and the thick wooden staff in his hand he is gripping, and every now and then you hear that twisting of wood as his grip tightens and turns. He is on edge. There is a... It's not something you've seen in Akarian before. He's usually quite have at him, but he is definitely, or at least comes across as very much on the ball at this moment in time. You walk on. It feels...
How long
Go
are...
on.
Oh, sorry.
If you're going to ask how long you've been walking, I'm about to tell you. Oh,
Okay,
you
cool.
It feels as though... It feels like you've been on this path for maybe an hour, just over. Leaving the morning behind, coming into an early noonish time. You don't seem to get closer to the paths that wind off in different directions. This path in front of you seems very long, very as straight as you could probably eye, getting off to all these different paths in front of you. Ari, while you're keeping an eye out for more humanoid looking remains, you notice something shiny, as if a light is reflecting off it, just sticking out of the mud not far off to your left, maybe 10-15 feet, and it catches your eye.
he's going to avert his gaze because he remembered what was said about mirrors, and he does not want to. You kind of point out to the group, don't look over there, there's a mirror.
And they all look over.
I know.
Don't look now.
Don't look, there's a mirror.
Sapphire specifically holds up one of his paws. Like,
You
nope,
notice
not going to be tempted.
the reflection on your paw.
What Ashaldria had said was that if you see your own reflection in it, then you must be wary, but if there's no reflection, then you can travel through.
I don't want to know.
But what if it gives us answers?
But what if it tells us lies? It's a risk.
Harry's keeping on walking. So you can do what you want to.
I'm looking at the mirror. I don't care.
You look across to where Harry said not to, and
Yep.
you do see a reflective piece of glass sticking out of the mud, maybe 6 inches out the mud. It's about 10-15 feet off the walked path, as it were. Staring over to it, you see it. There's nothing happening. Having a look around, you kind of see if there's any other glinting pieces of glass. The only one you can see is this one.
There doesn't seem to be anything reflected in it. At least, none of us from what I can see.
Good to know. Carries on walking.
Are you leaving
You're
it
not
be?
going to convince them.
I'll take the hint this time.
Please, Cass, not without the guide. There is nothing good here.
No.
So, you all walk on.
Mm-hmm.
Another hour passes, or at least it feels that way, and your grumbling stomachs tell you that it is lunchtime-esque. You now notice that the ever-winding paths are a lot closer. What you also notice is that these ever-winding paths are probably uncountable. As if you were to start counting them, you'd notice, oh, I missed that one. You start counting them again, actually I missed that one as well. And you can't seem to focus on how many of these winding paths. And they span out like the very, very small roots of a tree or a plant out in front of you. And they're all pathways. What you see just above the pathways is small glowing orbs about this big.
Ruby glares at the paths. Ruby is quite cross because she's actually quite good at counting large groups of things that seem to move when you're not looking, and the fact that she literally cannot count these is
None
making
of the
her
paths
cross.
are barren.
Meh.
Meh.
I mean, infinite paths and infinite universes. One of the paths must bar.
I bet.
These glowing Orbeez, do they look familiar to anything that they've seen in other places?
Give me a perception check.
Wisp-esque, or... The answer to that is 24.
So, taking a closer look at them, or at least from where you are and kind of focusing, a couple of things you notice. One, they stay near the path, almost bordering it, every now and then floating across it. They don't spread out into what it still appears to be this ever-ending mass graveyard of blackened and blue feathers and avian skeletons and beaks and such like this. The trying to remember what they remind you of was when some merchants from not of the Surut lands, not of the desert lands, from somewhere else, you can't quite remember where, but they had a glass dome on a wooden platform, and within there was a small diorama type scene of something, and they'd have like the smallest version of fairy lights or fairy fire going on in these orbs, these light globes, and they were more decorative, and you know, they were sold. Some of the tribes took a liking to them, others not so much, otherwise they'd have sold out. But yeah, that's what it reminds you of, those light globes.
They don't seem to be congregating in any... sort
They
of
seem to be
particular-
sporadic. You
Okay.
don't know, I mean, you were on it, like you're on it, and you don't see a pattern offensively or defensively from your fighter training. They just seem to be sporadic. But there are several infinite pathways ahead of you. You merely have to pick one.
Does there appear to be any particular difference between, or do they all look the same, and when you look back they look slightly different to how they looked first time round? Like what?
Right now you can't see the details within them. It's just what they remind you of. From this distance, just seeing them ahead on these multiple paths.
Oh
they-
no, I was meaning the paths.
Oh, the paths, they just look like the path you're walking on. They're indented into the waterlogged mud.
Okay.
They look forced, but natural at the same time.
Okay.
And they just seem to, like roots, weave out away from this end of the straighter path that you're on.
Sorry, I thought you'd been asking what path were we going to take, and that's why I was like, is there any difference?
Well,
between
yes
any
and no.
paths?
Like that's,
Yeah.
you know, you can turn around or you can go forward. So it's up to yourself.
Was it the group that got told about the glass globes or not? Because I can't remember.
You were told about snow globes.
Okay,
yes.
we were. Okay, right. I was like, I can't actually remember. I didn't write that. I wrote it down, which makes me think we were
Yes.
told it, but I'm like, God, remember.
Because it was a fortnight ago, Mel, and I do not have snow globes written down. What the hell is with the snow globes?
Get into it. Get into it. Don't you worry.
This is my 2-year-olds and I can't get it to work.
What?
How do you make it?
It's
Oh, it works now, it
situated.
works now. You just
There you go.
literally
Works.
drink it like a cup.
Here on the Heavyweight
Drink it like a
RPG channel, Heavy struggles with a cup designed for a 2-year-old.
Look, I just stand in the way of traffic to keep her safe, alright? Becky does the actual parenting, alright? I'm the speed.
Oh,
Ariel kind of noticed the orbs and kind of be like, yeah, do you remember the talk about there was the glass globes with the dioramas within them?
yes.
It's different echoes. I don't want to look at those either.
No. Probably best we don't look at anything other than
How
what
do
we
we
should
know
be
which
looking
way
for.
to go?
Well,
Pick
we
one
could
and start
either
walking.
do... Yes, we could either do that, or maybe Ruby, your spell might work this time, now that we're a bit further along.
I can try. I'll try the lesser spell in case it still doesn't work.
So what are you trying?
When they were on the bed, before we left Ravenholm, did Nikolai have the wooden sword?
He did.
Then I cast Locate Object, hoping for the wooden sword.
Give me a charisma saving throw.
That's my dump stat.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Mine too.
We have
Ah.
God damn it, Twitch.
God, we're flying solo.
Oh no. Oh, she's...
The 6.
Cool.
Oh, no.
no.
That'll do. That'll do.
Oh, that'll do, donkey. That'll do.
So, you
Remember when we
concentrate.
had a druid?
You concentrate on the wooden sword, and you open your eyes, but you do not see any of these around you. You see multiple lines of a faint greenish white energy pouring out from you. Wherever you've cast this before, you are confident that it is one, the object is close, or at least within 1,000 feet, not being blocked, etc. And will show you where. Then this beam of light splits, and splits again, and splits again, and splits again, and you see it reaching out to multiple of these fairy orbs floating around, these light orbs. You also see 2 of these green lights, these greenish white beams that you'd normally follow, off to your left, and when you look, you see 2 Aries stood there, and the 2 beams go straight towards these 2 Aries. What you lot see is about 300, 400, 500 rubies just all appearing, spreading out across the pathways and fields behind you.
If he's close to Ruby, I'll try and grab the real one to just be like, hold on to her.
Give me a charisma saving throw.
Oh, Jesus.
See.
You're a rogue bard.
Yeah.
No, but it's me rolling.
That's true.
That is the counter to Rogue Bard.
I mean, that's a 19, because luckily I rolled well.
You reach forward,
I had a +10.
and your hand actually goes through the first ruby in front of you, and it shimmers and tries to reform, but your arm's there, and you grab something solid, and you feel the the cloth and wool and clothing of Ruby as you pull her towards you. As you pull her towards you, Ruby, you sort of shake out of your locate object. The last thing you see, and you remember for a brief time where all these lines point, so you could follow them if you so wished. The rest of the rubies just fade out and are gone. And you all hear the smashing of glass.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Ruby, are you okay?
I think so.
There's only one Harry now, Ruby.
Ruby gives sort of Ari a slightly closer than usual once over, looking for anything out of place. After what everyone described with seeing the echoes that they saw before.
You'll kind of like notice her kind of glancing over and just be like, it's me, I know you, we've gone to see a dragon together. I don't know what else to say.
You're right, that's you. Which spell light would you like to follow? Choice of 300 or so?
Oh, is that why
Okay.
there were so many of you?
A lot of options.
Most of them
Should've-
go into the globes, but 2 of them pointed at Ari.
I don't really want to travel into Ari. That sounds like something very traumatic.
I require dinner first, usually.
Usually.
Nice to know you have standard sapphire. Right, okay, well, we tried that option, that didn't work. I guess.
Do we go for an orb then? It seems
Guess we'll
creepy
have
to
to.
me, but I don't think we have many
Kess
other options.
is going to point to a path 3 in from the left.
You focus.
Try that
you
one.
see the path.
Did that one have a light as far as Ruby knows? That one had a light.
Try that one.
Serendipitous. And just starts off. We're gonna get nowhere standing here.
Correct. Let's go then.
Cool. So you all start following Kess onto this path. The path is two people wide, so you could, if you so wanted to. Immediately you see the fairy orbs, these light globes, react and sort of move around. Not coming at you or away from you, they just sort of, as if you've tapped the glass of a fish tank and the fish all react. It's exactly the same. You start trudging. It's less and less waterlogged on the path now. You seem to see a increase of presence of these dead, or at least long gone, avian creature remains. Beaks, wings, bones, feathers, all throughout. It gets heavier and heavier in their consistency. Can Sapphire roll me a D3, please?
Equally confused. A D3?
E6.
Can
Have it, I
he?
guess.
Give me 2 seconds.
We'll never know. He might have meant a D4. He might have meant a D6.
I think he might mean a D6 divided by 2.
Yeah, so I rolled a D6 and got a 4, so I'm going to say 2, but we'll see what happens.
I don't
Can
know,
you roll me a D3? D&D
I
players
literally
across
looked
the
down at my
world.
dice and was like,
I don't think I can.
It's first.
Oh,
it's the
Cat's
first,
very
it's the
busy
first
today.
One. Look, it's the first session. Man's a new
Ever.
DM. He doesn't know how to DM. He's winging it. He doesn't know what dice.
So the
actually
Game
are.
Weaver's lurking, so are we going back to the Game Weaver? Game Weaver was one of our original DMs, guys, just so you know.
God.
Rav 1959's follower 69.
Yeah.
Always good fun.
Nice.
Always good fun.
Apparently Jenny's been doing lots with naps, but yeah, this is terrifying.
Let me touch and get into questionable peril, please.
I
Okay,
thought you were going to
Sawdust
take
has
that
actually
mirror.
explained how you sort out a D3. I actually didn't know that. There you go.
I would just have googled roll D3 and mashed that like.
I mean, we only own a dice shop, it's fine.
like boss.
Yes, make
But
us a
I
D3.
think I actually have a D3.
I have some weird.
Probably
I've got a
do.
D17 somewhere because someone sent me a bunch of weird dice. There are some very strange ones out there.
I mean, we put some weird dice in with ours, but you know, still.
Yeah, I've got a D3. I could have rolled a D3.
There you go.
If we were on roll 20, I could have rolled a D3.
I mean, yeah, probably would have also Googled it and been like, roll D3, please. How do?
Sure.
How do? Oh,
Well,
Maybe-
I need the bathroom. I'm going to mute and go do that.
Maybe third one in from the left actually gave us no DM. This is the end of the campaign. Sorry, guys.
bye.
Uh,
First session.
First and last session. It was actually a one shot. Ignore the session 46 that you see in the title.
I'm very happy that chat is very busy. It is good. Thank you all for coming across to the new channel, which is a thing now.
There have been some shenanigans, but
Yes.
we are doing our best.
It was fun while it lasted, my Bonnix. Yeah, I know, right? Oh, he's back.
Sorry about that. My,
No,
That's
it's
all
okay.
young'un's
Sean's just
thrown
on a
up.
bio break. Or
God damn.
is in the progress of a bio break. I don't know, I'm not with him.
Do we know what he rolled?
He
yes.
rolled a 4, so it'd be a 2.
Cool. That's cool. Okay.
I mean, we had to get Sawdust
No, he
to
didn't.
explain how it worked.
What
but, you
was
know.
the other one you rolled? The
Yeah.
one you really rolled? Because it wasn't a 2 you rolled, Sean. It wasn't a 2 you rolled, Sean. What was the one you actually rolled, Sean?
Oh no.
3?
I didn't like the noise that AD made, Sean.
Right.
I rolled a D6 and halved it. I didn't know how else to roll a D3.
That's exactly what you do.
Yay.
So, let me.
The last dice you'll ever roll, by the sounds of it.
So, you're on the path. You're walking along.
Not like this.
They all start to react. Sapphire, the fairy orb, fairy globe next to you, just bounces off your left forearm. Ding. You stop for a moment, you turn and you look at it. You see a dozen or so cubs of a tabaxi nature, very much lion in formation, some of them with the mini manes and all running around your feet. You are in a forest that is filled with evergreen trees. You have a large woodcutter's axe on your shoulder, and all these cubs are running around. Some grey, others are white. There are a few with a pattern of both. You look above, you look from your feet at all the cubs, and you see a log cabin built, which you remember you built by hand, with several others of the small hamlet that you now see in this evergreen forest. You rest your axe against the log cabin, you hit the deck, and the cubs whitewash you with snow. They just dive on you, they're wrestling, they're biting on your ear, they're pulling on your mane, you're fake roar, growling at them, you're full on Simba growling at them, and then every now and then you let out a Mufasa roar. No other Lion Kings are available. And you're having a good old time with these dozen or so cubs. Little bastard's got sharp teeth. There is a horn blown in the distance, one that resounds in your memory as a horn of battle. You see running towards you your sister. No scars, dressed of someone that is working the forest similar to yourself. There's no armour, no weapons, just someone living in the hamlet. You see Soultaker. She's running towards you, panic in her eyes, wide. She runs straight up to you. Brother, it's him. He's come for you. She states it with fear in her voice. You, Sapphire, stand. Slowly, calmly, and you usher the cubs into the log cabin. Their mother, a grey-furred tabaxi, from Vey, it does appear, scared, looking back at you, and you simply say, I promise no harm will befall them. You pick up your hefty-looking timber axe. That you have a flashback once belonged to your mother. You turn to your sister. Let us give him a reunion he did not expect. You place a confident paw upon your sister's shoulder, and the pair of you make your way towards the horn, somewhere out in the evergreen forest. And you look away from the orb.
Yeah. None of the rest of you saw that, did you?
So what?
I'll go
Oh.
with no.
What?
It all happened in the space of it just bumping into your forearms, Sapphire.
One of the orbs touched me, and I was somewhere else.
Somewhere else how?
I'm assuming from how this place works, it's another potential life. I was in a forest. We'd created a town, a village of sorts. We had, there were children. There were cubs, tabaxi cubs. There was, my sister was there. She was fine. Someone was coming for us. I think I got the feeling it might have been Dad, but I'm not sure. I had my mother's axe, but I don't think it was my mother's. It was weird.
Are you okay to continue?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. Like he's like staring thoughtfully at the same orb that touched him, and then he kind of walks past it.
We need this leader of the natives. Like, I think we're gonna struggle to get through here without these orbs trying to do stuff to us. And he'll kind of just stop in the middle of the path and just be like,
I don't think the orbs are trying to do anything, Harry.
I
The
don't
orbs-
like them.
Yes, but
Are
Ari, you
just
don't
are.
in particular like anything that is close to being fair, and this is very fair feeling. So it's natural that you would not like it and that you will be wary.
You should be wary, but they don't mean you any harm from what we can tell. And
They're not
they don't
being
mean
malicious.
you any good either.
They're simply being.
I just want to find my brother and find Nikolai, and I just.
We all do.
We'll find them.
There's so many paths, so how do we know we've chosen the right one?
We don't, but we have to keep walking it.
We've picked one. We keep going.
If it
Maybe.
makes you feel any better, in one of these things, at least one, we find your brother.
That's a
It
way
might
to
as
think
well
about
be
it.
this
It's true.
one.
Okay.
You don't know it's not. So don't treat it like it is until it isn't. Okay?
Wisdom.
Out the wazoo.
Exactly.
None.
Sibling wazoo energy.
So you're just going to continue to walk?
Nope.
It quickly becomes what's the word?
Slap.
You've done it before. What's the word?
Deja vu?
Yeah, it quickly becomes deja vu. Walking across the deserts, walking across the forests, spending a lot of time in a town or a city, the same sort of patterns of passing by stuff, the twists and turns of the path. The orbs, again, remain sporadic. They don't come at you aggressively or try to form any weird circles of defense or like ushering. They just allow you to be. It feels or seems that way. It's into the afternoon now. It is slowly becoming not darker, but you feel the lessening of the light that is around you. And it hasn't been broad daylight since you've been here. It's still got that ethereal hum to it, as if the canopy is still there and letting light through, but there is no canopy above you. It is just a very, very lightly starred night scene above you. The paths become less and less until there are only 5. Of the pathways in front of you, there is a not symbol, there is an image of something before each path. It doesn't take you, it doesn't take you long to see. There is a lion's paw. There is a almost eagle claw at the start of another. There is a wave in the mud at another. There is the crook of Ruby's staff sort of shape at another. And the one on the far right, there is just a beautiful, far more detailed than the other 4, palm tree. Those are the only 5 paths ahead of you, filled with these white fairy orbs, light orbs, bobbing around.
I look to Kess. You picked the last path. Do you want to pick again?
So we have one which is more detailed, which would look to suggest yourself, Drea. But then we're also looking for something for Ari, which would suggest the eagle. I would go for one of those 2.
Okay. Then, since this is... We're here for Ari's brother, so let's go for the eagle.
Great.
Yep, makes sense to me.
We all need to make the decision.
I'll follow.
Ari?
There was something mentioned about finding the eagles, but I'll just kind of look around and go, I guess we're going that way.
Don't let the amount of choice take your agency out of this, Ari. Make a choice.
Be determined about it.
He'll meet Kirsty's eyes and just be like, you're right, again. We choose the eagle.
Attaboy.
And you all step onto the path of the eagle.
Yep.
Sapphire, Kesvion, Xandria and Ruby, the first thing you know as you cross the joining where the path is to the main path that you've just come from, Ari disappears. Completely disappears.
Oh well, Ari,
Like-
it wasn't a trap.
You just see a little tombstone appear. No.
Well, if he's in
It's
a
like
tombstone,
worms.
So, we just convinced Ari this was definitely a good idea.
no, we convinced Ari to finally make a damn decision in this place. They are 2 very different things, Sapphire.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. That is
Is
true.
there any sign of footprints, changes to our surroundings now that we've stepped onto this
As you're
path?
looking around, there are 4 paths in front of you. One with a lion's paw, one with a tidal wave, one with a shepherd's crook, and one with a detailed palm tree.
And it's up.
I don't want to state the obvious, because I'm fairly confident at least 3 of us are thinking the same thing. But I have a feeling they're trying to split us up.
Yep. I don't think we've got much of a choice, though.
Well, we do. We
I was gonna say,
either,
did you just hear what Cass said? Come on.
we either choose to split up now with these paths. We go back and we split up at the previous paths. We continue on choosing one and slowly losing a member of our party each time until there's none of us left and we're split up that way. There's plenty of choice.
Do you want to just say, fuck it, and each take our own path? Now.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, Ruby?
I'm sorry,
It's horrible here.
there is nothing but death and blight, and I don't like it. I
It's
don't
not.
want to split up, but we keep stepping onto the same path. It's going to make us anyway. I think only we can step onto our symbols. I don't think anyone else can walk our path. But why isn't there one for Okarian?
I only have the one path, girl. The world could not handle more of Akarian. And he gives Zandria a little nudge.
The idea of the world being able to handle more than one Ari is also terrifying, but here we are.
Think about how many kids there are out in the universe. Sapphire
I
says right
don't-
before stepping onto his own path.
Roll a d1000.
So he doesn't have to hear anything anyone says back to him.
Sapphire just disappears. Oh no, I didn't think about that, and now that's... Oh no. Oh, I hope we never encounter any of those.
An infinite universe with infinite Aries? Are you going to be okay, Ruby?
Yeah, you'll be fine, Ruby.
And
Have
Kess
a
will
good
step
faith.
onto his path.
Ruby, risking life and limb, gives Andrea a brief hug before stepping onto her own, away from the repercussions.
Who's left? Who's left?
Eldritch, but
Who's left? Just Zandria and Okarian.
Just me.
Yep.
Yeah, just me and Alcarion now.
The first oak and the first palm tree.
It's less like, ye olde, I am Zandria, first palm tree.
Tree. I am prickly, but I bear fruit of nut.
I am the original coconut.
Diddly, diddly, diddly.
I love it.
I shall wait here for you.
You better, old man, otherwise I will be chasing after wherever you go.
I didn't doubt it for a second. And he sits down and puts his staff in front of him with the now 5 paths in front of him. Your 4 companions no longer in sight, and just your path ahead of you.
See you when I return. And I step onto my path.
Cool. At the moment you all stepped, it's better to do the one description than do it 5 times. There is almost like you've appeared in deep water rather than jumped into it, and you get that slow and you look around you, and it's probably the first description you could think of is that you are beneath the surface of a very deep body of water. There is mild panic for Zandria until she calms herself and realises it isn't truly deep water, and then you find the softness of the muddy ground beneath your feet. You look to your left and right, and you do see one another, but in an ethereal sidestep to where you are now. If you say one another's name as you notice them, it echoes quietly but ghost-like and distant, rather than booming in a canyon, say. Attempting to reach out to them, you see your hand move several times. And you realise quickly that you cannot reach those of your party to your left and right. Ahead of you is the same paths that you saw when you first approached. At the end of each path, you all see the same person. A maybe 5 foot short or tall, depending on how you want to look at it. Almost, they've got a stereotypical dwarf look about them. They're broad-shouldered, their beard is thick, black and oiled, but it is braided and tied with what looks to be almost straw bobbles down this braid. There are tattoos all over their body. They are all over their face, except the right hand side of the face. They are completely bald, and you can see tattoos going over the back of the head. On their staff that they have, it branches up, and there are 2 mirrors, twinned at the top, facing outwards. And the rootage that holds the mirrors goes over the top. And they are just stood, maybe 100 feet from you. Your path winds, but definitely winds to said person. None of you see the other person's person, but you all see this possibly dwarf at the other side of your chosen road. The orbs, Ari, your orbs have a bluish bounce to them with a golden tinge. Sapphire, yours are white, but the white of snow, or the grey of snow when it slushes and melts underwater. You have the green of Kesviel. You have the fiery reds and oranges of summer for Zandria. And Jeannie, yours is the same colour as Khan's horn. That pearlescent oyster pinky colour. And you see all these orbs bouncing before you, just bobbing away on the path. Again, they're not fast moving, they don't come towards you, they're just floating along. All you must do is walk your own path. And then before you do, we're going to call a break. Because it's 9:30, and apparently on D&D shows you have a break halfway through. So, we're going to have a break. I'm busting for a drink. I've now worked out how this works, but I'm going to cheat and get my own. So, so stick around if you want to see how this lot go across this path. We'll find out what possible echoes they do or don't see, and then we'll see who the dwarf is at the other end. So,
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
6 pages of what if, kids. 6 pages of what if. So, see you in a bit. We'll be back in a sec. Take care. Please, please, please stick around. Thank you so much for watching so far. It says 24 on my screen. I don't know if that's changed at all. But thank you so much, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes, 15 tops. Alright? Break plans after 4 hours of gameplay. This ain't Critical Role, made by Onyx, alright? And I'm not playing for 7 hours, okay? Right. We'll be back in a bit.
Yet,
Not
anyway.
yet. Not yet. Right, back in a
Not
bit.
yet.
Back in a bit. Is there no audio still?
No.
Hello? Oh, why was there no audio?
Yeah, there was audio. I heard audio.
I didn't have audio. Who
Did you
cares?
have
We're
the
back
stream?
now.
Hey! Welcome back to Heavyweight Gaming RPG. Heavyweight. Welcome to me. Well, that's, unlucky.
AD
for
and
you.
friends.
Welcome to AD, where everybody
The
dies.
Gravy Fest. Welcome to the Gravy Fest. And coconuts. What I've got to do with it. I've got to get a t-shirt with coconuts on it. I probably have to get a couple, otherwise it'll look a bit weird if I just have 2 coconuts. But
Can we change Xandria's warlock to the first coconut?
you do what you want. So, just before the break, welcome to the channel. If you're new, great. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for watching, etc., etc. We love you all. Thank you for those that have come across from our locked out channel. Blah 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 blah. Love you all. There's a charity going on. There'll be links and stuff like this. Sawdust do mod stuff. Oh, I need to make you a mod.
I was going to say, we can't actually post links properly.
Not actually mods.
Can you mod people yet? I can't mod.
no.
I'll have to mod you later. I'll mod you in a bit.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, 70 followers. I was enjoying the 69. Anyway, we'll cut that out. So, just before the break, this lot had reached the many paths in their realm of echoes travels, and each path, it seemed, had an icon that represented one of them. They've all chosen to take their own paths, whether slightly forced by the DM. They're all walking their own paths. Their paths before them have these fairy globes, light orbs that all have a coloration that is representative of those walking them. At the end of the 100 or so foot path, there seems to be a dwarf, a thick black beard, completely bald head, covered in tattoos except the right side of their face, holding a staff with a pair of mirrors in it. Unlike the others that you've seen have a singular mirror. Who would like to walk their path first?
I
Okay.
go for it.
So we had a fuck it and an I go for it.
Basically, the siblings are like, why not? We walk enough paths in our lives. Let's go.
Right, we'll start with Kess because you're at the top of my sheet.
Ominous.
I guess.
You begin to walk the path towards the dwarf. As you saw before, there are Sapphire and Ari and Xandria and Ruby either side of you. You're just unable to reach out to them via sound or physical touch. There's an etherealness that seems to keep you separate. Pottering along, your lovely seaweed green orbs are bouncing and floating along the path. Hundreds of them, it seems. Maybe more. Are you walking weapons out, weapons in, running, crawling? What are you doing? Leaping, backflipping, attempting to
Nope.
swim?
Weapons still stored, but kind of hands sort of rested at the hilts, and just walking kind of at an even pace.
Cool. You get about a third of the way across. Can you give me a charisma saving throw, please? As
I
one of the
can
orbs gently bumps into your upper thigh.
That is a 19.
Cool. There is a image within the orb. It hangs for a moment. You have the choice to look or to walk on.
Oh look,
Roll a d4.
I have one of those.
Yeah.
That's a 1.
The scene before you is familiar, but at the same time completely alien from your memories. There is reeds and water fauna all about. A beautiful river stretching for miles and miles and miles across rolling hills and greenery, forests on the banks of it. It is a landscape picturesque moment. Among the reeds and the water fauna in this deep river, there are several children, all naked, all diving in the water, just living their best Kelpie child life. There are several adult Kelpie using their natural magics to tend to the water fauna and encouraging them in a somewhat druidic manner. but they are encouraging the fauna to be vibrant and grow and bloom, and almost shepherding it into certain places on the banks of this river. You are sat very young. You feel the breeze on your naked skin. You look about, your deep bluish green markings upon your skin, and you look, your hair's whipping in the air. Good old Yorkshire. We've got no H's, right? I got no H's. I got
Your hair's whipping in the air.
Elton John hates us. So you lay back and you're looking up. It's a bright summer's day. Sun's beaming. Clear blue skies. You just hear the noise of children playing and splashing. You hear your name several times shouted from the younger children, encouraging you to join them. You pick up a small, flat pebble and skim it towards the group of children. Not at any great aggression, because you're not quite the fight yet, probably take someone dead off. But they play and dance and duck beneath the water as the pebble comes skimming along. And you dive in, splash all the adults next to you. One of them picks you up, puts you in the air, starts shaking you. You look into their eyes. They have a silvery, like a watery, silvery look, like a fish scale colouring to their eyes. There is love and warmth and a parental presence to them. The only one you can match it to is the feeling you have of your father in the desert tribes. And they throw you into the water, into the group of children splashing, and you giggle and laugh. And you look away from the orb.
Cool.
Continuing to walk.
Yep.
You're 2/3 away across. 3 or 4 of the orbs. You're not sure if they're deliberately more clustered than normal, but they come closer to near the pathway. And then they form a line across these 4 orbs. You could go under, you could try to jump over, you could go through. It's up to you.
Just plow through. When's that ever not been?
Roll a
Yes, it's MO.
roll a d3. And a charisma save.
Cool. That is a 3 and the charisma save.
A 3. Oh, so it's a 2. Okay.
That is a 17 on that one.
Again, you feel that you could walk away from the orb. Of the 4, 3 of them kind of bounce like skittles out of your way, but you don't actually make contact with them. One remains and bounces off your chest and just hangs there, and you see an image.
I wouldn't want to spoil all your writing.
There's plenty more where that came from, mate. Like, you don't worry about that. You do you.
Yeah, why not? He's nothing if not curious and a bit stupid, so...
You hear the sound of running water, only ever so slight. And you notice that you're sat in quite a large chair of sorts. You're sort of resting against it, and you've got one leg over one of the arms, just real comfortable, cocky-like. Very, not what you don't feel like you normally sit like this, but it feels good, feels comfortable. And you look around you, and this chair is enormous, throne-like, as the water runs up the back and goes over the edge, and water falls down the side, and then runs water away from this throne. You quickly notice that it is indeed a throne. High arms, you're sat there, all of it, all the water running away from you, over the edges, water falling away. Out before you, a beautiful cave. The ceiling of the cave shimmers blues and greens, all the colours of aquamarine stones placed in each area, giving a dull glow to this royal throne room. There are two swords shaped as scimitars the handles made of some sort of seashell, and the blades curved with very, very decorative barnacles across it. Deliberate, not grown on and placed on the blade. Sorry, not grown, deliberately placed on the blade. English. They are beautiful in craft, and they are sat point down in two very delicate wired holders just in front of the throne. Very much so that if you were to step forward, both would be within ease to draw and use if so needed. In front of you is a small table made of a large seashell or turtle shell material. This table could probably sit maybe a dozen or so people around it, or as around it as possible on this shell. There is seahorse iconography all around that decorates this turtle shell table. In the middle of it, there is a like circular hull. It's a hull. There's a missing part of the shell that, and you can see there's small clasps that come up as if something was to be placed in the middle. Looking around the throne room, still sat on your watery throne, you see others similar to yourself, creatures of the sea, tending things, leaning over tables, arranging decorative pieces within this throne room. At the end of the throne room there is an archway that clearly leads out of this cave to more caves, more tunnels, more whatever this place may be. And the more you look around and that, you can't help but know you're in your castle, your fortress. This is where you rule your kingdom from. Walking from the outside of the cave into the throne room, there is a small gecko, fiery coloured scaled gecko salamander lizard pottering towards you. They have a very decorative seashell necklace on. You're completely underwater, and you see Wreck. He toodles up, and he just says to you, "King Tsunami, I have word." And you look away from the orb. Ahead of you now, maybe 30, 40 feet, you see the dwarf. You almost see the detail of the tattoos on their face and their shoulders and chest. You notice now that they are quite barrel-chested, big tub on them, belly tube, but they've got a thick hero belt made of leathers and like straw, and there's a few watery and avian trinkets, shells and bones hanging off this hero belt, completely covered in this real dark green, seaweedy green coloured ink all over their shoulders. There's no variation of colour, it's all the same colour, and you can see various almost scenes in the tattoos now, all over them. Completely clean on the right side of the face, but the tattoos go over the back of the head, and they're just turning their staff and the tomb mirrors to sort of tilt towards you, only ever so slightly.
Keep walking.
Cool. As you get to the end of the path, you're 10 feet from him now, and he's about 5 feet tall, thickly limbed, stood there, just patting his belly, holding the staff. Kesfion, step forward.
Yep.
As you step, a single orb floats in front of you, the purest of emerald green.
And you'll keep walking
Do you walk round it or into it?
into it.
Give me a charisma save. I am the Terminator.
That is a dirty 20.
Same again. You have a choice. Do you wish to look into the scene it is trying to show you?
Yeah. Go big or go home.
Give me a D2, please. So roll a D4 and half it. Or a D6 and half it's up to you.
That is naturally roll the 3. Give us a sec. That's a 1.
Okay, that'll do. You feel fear, absolute fear, scared shitless, overwhelmed, no hope, the light fading. You're in a cell of grey stone and stinking hay, iron bars, that you look at your hands and you see the burn marks, the scorched skin, where you remember grabbing those bars and shouting for them to let you free, and the bars themselves burning the flesh of your hands. Then the next thing you know, you're being dragged by humanoids, humans, dwarfs, Goliath, maybe Tibetan, you don't know. They just have that bipedal shape silhouette to them. They stink of ale and hay and the underworld of a urban area. And they're dragging you from the cell, away from it, through a building all of stone, the stone scraping on your flesh. Your modesty's covered, but you're pretty much in rags. You're bruised, you're cut. You are dragged to the market square of this town. Seems to be on the coast. You are bound. You are completely stripped naked. And a tsh, tsh, tsh behind you. A familiar sound. The cracking of a whip. You hear the crowd begin to cry with joy or wanting more, and you hear the whip crack every time you sort of flinch. It's not yet made its mark, but you know it's coming. Then it does make its mark, and you cry out in pain, screaming. Your echoes race through the sky and the clouds. It grows dark. You hold on. You hold on. And you hold on. Every crack, every hit, the tear of your flesh, it starts to numb, and you feel nothing. Your tears stop running down your cheeks, and you pull your head just up enough to look out from this coastal town to the horizon of the sea. And you see a wall of water rising, dominating the horizon. Impossibly high, impossibly wide. You see a tsunami rushing towards the coast. You begin to laugh, and you look away from the orb. Welcome, Kesfiel. I am Oro. Please sit. And he just gestures. And you never noticed them before, but there are 5 stumps just protruding from the muddy ground. We will wait for your friends.
He'll kind of give a nod and take a seat.
Who's next? It's Andrea. Scrolly,
Everyone
scrolly.
takes a step back.
Path before you. It starts to brighten. Sky goes blue. Fresh, clean desert air blowing in your face. The mud turns to sand, raises a little bit, and you see small dunes. But you can see a very obvious path through the dunes. And your fiery orange orbs, your fairy globes, floating around. And you see the dwarf at the far side. To your left you see Kesfiel walking alongside of you and the others. You get about a third of the way across. And an orb just bumps into you. Charisma saving throw, please. 19. The orb bumps into your shoulder and just hovers there. You see a scene beyond it, but you have the choice to look or to move on.
Move on.
Cool. You get 2/3 of the way across. There are no orbs, just the dunes. You start to see greenery on some of the dunes where little tufts of desert fauna are, plants that only survive in this heat. And you hear the thudding of hoofs, whether it be horse or camel, you can't quite make out, like thudding against the dense sand. And they come rushing over, an almost unit of cavalry on camel and horse, over the sand dunes. It seems as if you are far away watching it, but they're clearly just in front of you. They all sort of skid onto the sand, and an arrow gets fired, and you follow the arrow, and an orb just bounces into your cheek. Can you give me a charisma saving throw, please? 21. Hang on. Cool. As it bumps into your cheek, you smell the scent of a rose. It's a very familiar smell, but you do have the choice to look at it or move on.
Move on.
Cool. You get all the way across. You see the dwarf, same as before for Kess. Welcome, Xandria, Summer Breeze. And an orb just floats in front of you. You walk round it, through it, etc.
Round it.
Cool, give me a charisma saving throw.
Only 4.
Cool, you stop. This one took your attention without bumping into you. But you do have the choice to follow through on that attention or just move on.
Move on.
Cool. You move on. You just get a nod from Oro. And you see Kess. You swear he wasn't there before. Sat on a stump. Please sit while we wait for your friends. Who's next? Oh, sorry. Go on, Xandria.
I was going to say it. I nod and sit.
How can Eldritch blast him now?
Stop trying to tempt me.
Who's next?
I will if
I was going to say, Ari won't want to, so he's going to keep standing there for as long as possible, so, you know.
yeah, if
Frozen
everyone
in
else has got
fear.
the fear, then
Are we doing the ruby?
yeah.
Yeah, do the ruby, and then we'll do a sapphire afterwards. Harry wants to wait till the end.
Okay.
Damn
Ruby.
it.
You see everyone around you. You notice Kess is walking, stopping for a moment. Only a moment. Moving on. Stopping, moving on. You see Xandria not necessarily stop, but slow her step before carrying on. And you begin to walk. I smell a sheep around here. You have a look around. You see a few of the hills rolling. Then it fades away. And you are in the same graveyard flavour that you walked. But you notice now that you see very large raven/crow bird-like creatures, not decayed over time, recently killed, just laid off the side of each path. They appear to be a race known as the Kenku, that you've only ever met maybe once or twice passing through the Towan Highlands. But there is a ton of them dead all around you, not on the path.
Ruby takes a deep breath and pauses and closes her eyes for a second, but keeps walking, although murmuring a traditional, like, halfling last rite prayer. Not that halflings are especially religious, but that sort of blessing.
That respectful passing on of...
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. A single orb, where you see no others, bobs in front of you, and then it starts to circle like corkscrew, spiral, that's the word, upwards, and it now hovers just above your forehead, invitingly. It doesn't make any move towards you. You are completely free to choose to look or not. There's no pull on your senses. There's no resistance you feel you need to make. You merely have a choice. So
Ruby
look,
looks.
can you roll me a d3? So a d6, and then let me know what you got.
Yeah. That's a 1.
What's the worst that could happen?
You look into this globe, this ornament, this trinket of art that people buy and put on a fireplace. and you feel the warmth of a fire on your face, and you're sat on quite a large campfire with a very large cooking pot on it. You look around you, and several gnomes and halflings, all dressed and warded in the Tow and Highland way. You know, the tribes and the clans, the tartan across them, the ward on their skin, and they're dragging like squared lumps of flesh. You know what I mean, like meat. They seem to be dragging them to a nearby area where they're cutting them into smaller chunks. You've got a hooded cloak. It's made from like leathery skin. It's about your shoulders, and you pull it tight to protect yourself better against the cold air. And a couple of the gnomes and halflings come on for some of the meat in the pot, and they start stirring it. They're on little step stools. It's a very large pot, and they're stirring it thick. And you're sat there, happy, just swaying your feet on the log that you're on. And you look over the edge. You smell deep that beautiful stew smell, and you see what look to be hands and feet bobbing in the cooking pot. The odd ear floats up, and you scoop up with a large ladle and pour it into your like wooden handleless tankard. You smile, and all you say is, "I do love a good brew," and you look away from the orb.
Ruby giggles and tells the orb it's full of nonsense and keeps walking.
Surprisingly, the orb just bobs along. Coming up to your 2/3 mark, as you're slowly, you realise now that you're kind of at pace with Kess rather than Xandri, who seems slightly ahead. A couple of the bodies of the Kenku that are laid either side of the path, motionless, twitch, and you hear a repetitive whining noise coming from them, like the noise is made once and then echoed out towards you, and it is a noise of pain. Someone that is taking their last breath.
Ruby will immediately drop to her knees beside whichever creature made the noise, and I'm going to roll a medicine check.
So you step off the path to tend to the creature.
How far off the path is it?
About 5 feet.
Yes.
Cool. Do your medicine check.
That is a 14.
The creature is dead, and you are unsure of how it is able to make such a noise. The movements remind you of something that in its last death throes would twitch, or you've seen it happen with many creatures, and unfortunately a couple of halflings or gnomes. However, the noise is alien to you. You're not entirely sure how that noise has persisted past the state this creature is in. Can you give me a wisdom saving throw, please?
That is not my dump stat. Use Jeremiah's dice though for extra wisdom. That is a 19.
19?
Yeah.
Cool. You, if you so wish, you are able to walk back to the path.
Yeah. While her caution was overridden by the fact that somebody nearby apparently needed help, Ruby remembers where she is and retreats to the path when it's apparent that she cannot actually give any aid to the fallen creature.
As you turn and you see the dwarf ahead of you, you see 2 orbs just bouncing along the path. You could walk around them, there's space, they're not clustered, they don't move to intercept. They are merely in your way if you choose them to be. Or you can walk around them and all.
Why not?
Cool. Can you roll me a d3?
That is a 3. I mean, I rolled a 5, so a 3 is the number you want.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
You are on a roof. It is a thatch roof, filled with straw and hay, mud, and all greenery and life. Or at least it's close by enough that as you speak your druidic words and you encourage the roof to knit itself back together to strengthen it, you hear a dog barking. You look down. Very, very similar to your nature spirit is the look of this dog. Your healing spirit, sorry. You look around and you see many thatch roofs that you're going to spend the day speaking with and encouraging to repair as it's coming up rainy season in the Towan Highlands, and they do get hammered. But you love it. You love the job. You love the community, the feeling of help. Even when there's tensions between the halfling clans and the gnomish tribes, you get invited to both sides. You help. You care not for any conflict of those such things. You just before you climb down, you see a large golden feather just fall from above and land next to you. And then when you turn, there is a limping eagle on the roof about 5 feet from you, and it is really in a bad way. Quickly speaking with it, asking its permission to help, the eagle gives said permission, and you care for the bird in your home. Maybe a week passes. Day by day seems nothing more than the blink of an eye, talking to the roofs. Another thing to add to your druidic CV. Tending after this eagle. After maybe 4 or 5 days, you open the door one day to leave, to go about doing whatever you can for your small hamlet, and the eagle takes off and flies high in the sky. As you watch it fly, blinking against the sun, you see it disappear. And you hear the light rustling jinking of chainmail as you look, and there is somebody walking up the path. Very, very handsome, dark hair that falls over in waves. They're dressed quite nicely, but you see bits of chainmail under this jacket that is over the top. They have a gold sash. And she is quite stands out quite a lot compared to the halflings and gnomes that you see. She has a presence, a confidence. She strides. She has a rapier on her left hip with a eagle sort of formation on it and a dagger on the right. She just looks at you, gives you a bow, very out of doesn't quite fit the aesthetic you're used to, as she does a long bow, takes her rapier out, puts the blade to her forehead and salutes you before putting the rapier back. Greetings, I am Arena Samantha Rycroft. I am looking for the druid they call Ruby. And you look away from the orb, and the last thing you remember is offering her a brew.
Gets another giggle and Ruby keeps walking.
Seeing now that Xandria is doing Xandria, you notice that Kess is probably doing similar to yourself and investigating these orbs that are in front of him. You get to the end. You no longer see Xandria and Kessrion for a moment, but you do see the dwarf. Greetings, rider of the unicorn.
Hello.
Care for a seat while we wait for your friends.
Thank you. And she will sit next to Cass.
As you go to sit, there is a third orb that just hangs
Not
there.
so fast.
Yeah. It waits for you to sit, almost with politeness, and just bobs in front of you. You feel no pull, no resistance needed, merely a choice to look or not.
Why not? She looks.
We might be playing 7 hours. But so roll a d2.
1.
You're stood in one of the coastal towns. I say towns, coastal villages that Towan Highlands has. There's a fair amount of cliff terrain towards their edge that backs onto the sea, but then it dips and you have quite a stretch of beaches. And you're stood one of the towns. There is a large ship coming towards the town. It is a ship that you know will be full of humans. Not in a bad way. It's just you're used to this ship coming in. And it is of humans that are of bronze skin, curly hair. Sometimes it's really dark, like really tight curls. It's really dark, or sometimes it's really rustic blonde. They are clearly someone who spends a lot of their time in the sun. And the flag of the ship always hosts a sky blue sea turtle. You know these humans to be from a land called Itoria, which is not far to the south, but is southern away from the Towan Highlands. And they come to trade, as they always do. They meet with the Halfling clans and some of the Gnomish tribes, and there is a trade that goes on. Small makeshift markets are set up on the beach, and there's a good few days of people mingling, merrymaking and trading. You go down there mainly out of curiosity. You then quickly realise that you are staring into a scene, and that you are no longer part of the scene, that you are stood not high on the cliffs but up a few of the rocks and just sort of crouched looking down. You see a blind woman of many years. She's very aged. She's walking with a bit of a limp and does look to be on her later years rather than her spring chicken years. She has a very, very incredibly pretty little girl with her. Curly blonde hair, maybe 4 or 5. And you see her talking to a young halfling couple that you recognise as your halfling parents. A hummingbird feather of very vibrant colours is given to the blind woman, and as the blind woman walks away, the little girl with the tight curly blonde hair remains with the halfling couple. And you look away from the orb, and you notice Kesvion and Zandria sat on the stumps next to you. Not long to wait now, my friends. Only the great white lion and the scared eagle to walk. Sapphire!
Sorry, just before we do
Okay.
that, like literally the first thing Ruby does is look at Cass and Zandria and be like, I saw Ari as a girl.
You
Oh my god,
Ruby,
what's
my
that
dear,
sound?
you have to tell me all about that when we are not in this situation, because I would love to hang that over Ari's head.
Sapphire. You step out, and as you begin to walk, you feel a weight on your shoulders, around your neck, like something's tugging on it, like you're wearing a heavy cloak. And you turn, and you see the same trailing train of souls that you saw your sister have, and you are walking with it. There's a bit of a panic, as you know, your Sapphire, what? This is not your dress. But you breathe deep, you focus, and you walk, and you just accept the weight that you are pulling with you. The ground before you feels cold, snow cold, ice cold, but does not change. Still waterlogged, still the graveyard / cemetery scene of these dead bird-like creatures. About a dozen orbs float onto your path, all scattered about. If you really wanted to, you could just weave. But you do feel a pull towards them, as if you did try to weave, you may need to resist. Your choice is taken away from you, it seems, at this point.
As he approaches, he'll try and weave at first.
Can
Try and get around them.
Can you give me a charisma saving throw, please?
That's -1. That's that's a 2, so that's a 1 overall.
Well, the DC's a 2, so you've for you. So you start to weave, but as much as you're trying to shrug and ignore the weight of this train of souls behind you, soul train, you can't help, and you end up bump into one, and then sort of panic and bump into two, and then panic again, and it's almost like falling in a ball pool. Your head spins, your vision blurs, you lose sight of all of them. The ethereal ghost visage around you fades. And can you roll me a d6, please?
Six.
6?
Mm-hmm.
You start to flap and flail your arms everywhere. You feel yourself roaring, your claws come out, you tear the soul train from you, and you smash the orbs out of your way. You stand up, you roar, full on roar to the skies. You feel that rage overwhelm you, and you run forwards. Ahead of you, you start to look at your hands, you're raging. You feel wounds start to open on your chest and your face, your shoulders, your back, as if 1,000 wounds you're now remembering into existence. You feel them, you feel the impact of them, you feel them heal, and you feel them scar as you are just racing across the tundra. Ahead of you, all you see and all you can define them as is enemies. You rip through them, no weapon on your person by your claws and teeth. You are leaping, biting into necks, collarbones. You are ripping through them with your claws. You are biting into chests, tearing the hearts out. Bones are broken. Chunks of flesh are bitten from your enemies. You look around you. The snow absolutely sodden with crimson. Tabaxi tribes dead. Different banners from different tribes all around you, as if an army have come together of all the tribes to take you down. Your white fur completely soaked. You see no white of your original mane and body. You look down. You look at the medallion on your chest, made from some sort of bone, and the glyph on there in your language of the Tabaxi means a crimson line. You look around. You see your father, several feet, maybe off to your left, beaming with pride, just stood there, chest out, so proud. He doesn't speak, you don't hear, but you know the words he's going to say later. Well done, my son. I am proud of you, my son. Tear them apart, my son. Vicornia will be ours. And you look away. You breathe heavily. You're on the path. You see the bodies of Kenku on either side that weren't there before. There's no train of souls weighing you down. You quickly check your first white. You're in that ethereal place again. You see Harry still stood back. You see Kess, Sandri and Ruby moving forwards ahead of you on their path. You see the dwarf at the other end. He just stamps his staff 2 times, and you hear that as it echoes towards you, the small thud in the mud beneath his feet. You feel as though you are halfway across.
I'll keep pushing forward, I guess.
You keep pushing forwards. There are no orbs. There is no feeling of ice under feet. And you slowly get to the other end. And an orb rolls from right to left and just finishes about a foot from you. The dwarf ahead of you, you see Kess, Sandria and Ruby at the end of their paths in the ethereal walls that seem to be splitting you. The light in the orb fades to the point where it is a dot within the centre, and you see the glass material, or it appears to be glass, No wooden base, just a glass orb with a very small dot of light. That white grey light at the centre. Do you walk past it, step over it, pick it up, smash it? What do you do?
He's gonna pick it up.
Give me a charisma saving throw.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I should have. That's a 7.
7.
Yep.
How many key points you got?
I think I'm currently at my max. Yeah, 7.
7. Roll a d6.
3.
3. As you pick up the glass orb, it starts to brighten and you'll feel your pull into it, but it starts to burn your hand and you try to put it down as you feel it taking your very essence. And as of right now, you are down 3 key points.
Oh, okay.
And it's as if the key points charge this orb into life. And you see Sensei Rin stood right in front of you, and before you can react, he pushes you over, off balance. And you're on the floor looking up at him. Why do you always choose summer? He asks you. And as you kind of get back to yourself, I like fire. That is why you are not synced. Here in Ve, the sun is divine, a deity that cannot be worshipped or made request of through prayer. It is a holy fire that we seek in our summers, a radiant presence in our stance. Channel that, and the stance of summer will reward you. Now again. And Rin takes up a stance you've never seen before in front of you and comes at you again, and you parry, block, move, dance, forearm, fist, elbow, just Neo. Who's a tabaxi to your left. You continue your stance training. There's several more attempts where you fall into the stance of summer and you manifest an orb of radiant light, and it floats upwards, upwards and upwards. And as you look at it upwards, you see several winged creatures, and the closer they get, the sun in your eyes a little bit. They are great birds carrying riders, and these riders drop from them into the temple grounds. You look at Rin, and the look he gives you is one of prepare to fight. You take your stance of summer, ignoring the radiant orb that has seemed to have floated away. And you see 2 people stood on the rooftop. Your sister, Soul Taker. A pair of black, leathery wings protruding from her shoulder blades out. A greatsword, smooth, mastercrafted, almost elven in look, or at least the stories would have you believe. Stood next to them is a very large, bald-headed male. Hiya, Lucy. Yeah? You should be asleep. Are you off to bed? Sorry for the immersion. Are you off back to bed? Yeah? You can't play with the dice, Lucy, it's bedtime. Yeah? You gonna go to bed? Give us a kiss? Take your door. There you go. Night night, babe. Again. Yeah. You see a very large, bald man.
Very small child.
Stood next to Soul Taker, your sister, is a large man in black, or at least dark iron greyish black plate armour. They just put their helmet on. In their hand, they have a short-handled, thick warhammer that crackles with necrotic energy. And they both just jump off the rooftops. Superhero landing in the courtyard. And you look away from the orb. Welcome Great lion. Sit with your friends. And you see Cass, Andrea, and Ruby all sat on a wooden stump. And you feel the missingness of your key. Well, I refocus my camera. There you go.
He'll take a seat. He's kind of almost clutching where the amulet would have been before we entered this realm. Takes a seat. Just kind of looks solemnly at the dwarf. Doesn't respond.
And now, the scared eagle.
Very scared eagle.
What's the worst that could happen?
So, Ari, you're stood on your path. You've actually waited through fear or tact, your choice, and you've seen through the ethereal walls Sapphire, Caspian, Xandria, at a slightly faster pace, Ruby, all head up their paths, and are now all out of sight, disappeared. You have no idea where they are. Your path in front of you is as straight as an arrow. No bends, no twists, no turns. Waterlogged either side. Still that cemetery looking feel to it.
He'll take a deep breath, recall what he said to Cass, and just start walking forward, like focus, like trying to laser focus on the person in front of him.
Okay. Pottering along.
Trying to ignore all the orbs.
They're not here, they're not here, they're not here, they're not here.
Not here, not here, not here. We're going here.
You get about a third of the way across. And you stop. And you take a deep breath. No orbs. There's no orbs. And you look. There's no orbs. You hear footsteps on hardwood. And they're behind you. Do you turn around?
Nope.
Cool. Give me a charisma save.
Yep. Oh. 19.
19. You hold fast. Your palms are sweaty. I don't know what rest it's on. You have the choice to move on or turn around. I'm assuming you're going to move on, as you've already said.
We'll
you
move
turn
on.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
As you walk away, you hear a wooden door open. An incredible cheer, as if a great building filled with an audience is cheering. The wooden door close and the sound fade. And you keep walking forwards. 2/3 of the way across. Breathing deep, focusing. There's no orbs. There's no orbs. And you see no orbs. But you do smell ale. You hear the clinking, beautiful, beautiful song of a tavern. The bar calling you. The company shouting your name. Don't hear any words, you just feel it. All you got to do is look right. Do you look right or do you keep going?
Let's go in.
Give me a charisma saving throw.
Oh, 15.
15?
Mm-hmm.
Roll a d6.
I rolled a 5, so...
Right now, you feel that you could walk away and not look right. But you feel there will be a price. You just don't know what the price is. So you can still walk. But it's just a feeling of dread if you don't look. Might be the magic of the place pulling on you. Might be your own imagination. Might be nothing. But it's your choice to make.
He's very scared, So he will probably look if he feels like making that choice to keep walking will be of detriment. So he will look.
Hang on.
Give me something.
I thought you were going to walk
I
up.
want to. Every part of me wants to look at everything, but
I thought
no.
you were going to walk.
No.
I was just going to be
Sorry.
You turn right. You stood in a tavern. It is glorious. It feels so good. I mean, you're not in a tavern hiding. You're not in a tavern running away, looking for information for stupid reasons to go running all over the country. You're in a tavern for two things: drinking and company. Skeptically.
Okay.
You quickly realise that you have been drinking. And you are drunk. Stinking drunk. You fall to the floor several times. They're bumping into people, some laugh it off, some are just as drunk as you, and you're "Hey!" Everyone's shouting "Hey!" for no reason because you just bumped into each other, spilling drinks on each other, but you're all that far gone, it's just hilarious. You get the odd one or two that have just gone in there for a quiet drink after work, hanging their head. One looks remarkably like Zatria, but it's not. You make your way up the stairs to the room you've hired. You climb into your expensive bed. You've forked out. I mean, you're Harry Sebastian Rycroft, a noble of the wall. You have the gold. Do they know who you are? And then you vomit into the bucket on your right hand side. And there is a knock at your door. The door opens, and the tavern keep, who you can barely make out, you just recognise the voice as someone you gave money to for the room. My lord, your company for the evening has arrived. And the door opens wide, and you grin horribly, very drunk, very not in the right state for this, as three pleasure workers enter the room with their fake smiles and their professional movements. They walk towards you. You wipe your face and pat the bed. And for a brief moment, you see the true look of all three of them as they look at you with disgust and horridness and hate. And you still notice that they are smiling fakely. But you can't help but read their eyes. And a moment later, you pass out and look away. And you step back. And you're no longer in a tavern. You no longer hear the clinking and clanking of the tavern bar, the drinks, the tankards. You're back in this graveyard-like place. And you see the dwarf, maybe 30, 40 feet from you. And you no longer see Caspian, Zandria, Ruby or Sapphire.
He will just shake his head. It's not real. It's not real. And keep walking.
Cool. You get to the end, and you see the dwarf. He stood there, thick black beard, tied, patting his belly, tattoos everywhere, except for one side of his face, very important. And his two mirrors, just turning his staff, see the two mirrors reflecting. Well done, scared eagle. Come, sit with your friends. You take a step, straight away, distant caw of an eagle. And a small orb, tiny, tiny orb, almost the size of a pea. It's floating towards you. And when you move, it follows you like this. Do you embrace it? Do you walk around it? Do you attack it? What do you do?
He's gonna try and get around it.
Give me a charisma save. I will say with disadvantage because you said multiple times Harry is petrified.
Yep. 13. I rolled 10.
You try to get around it, and you sort of slip in the mud, and it just goes ding off your nose. and you hear music, pleasant, as if several bards have come together to play a beautiful song. You are dressed in a very expensive suit, greens and golds and blues. You paid through the roof for this suit. It was made by those of the House of Lilies. It has an enchantment to it that gives it increased desirability. Those that engage with you, you appear to be more charismatic. You're very pleased with it. You look around. You're at the end of an aisle. A wedding aisle. In the churches just outside the ivory wall. You are stood with your brother Stefan, who is in a very dark, like plum, but it's real dark, his suit, with a golden trim around it, and a couple of silver tassels and buckles across the... I've forgotten, it's been so long, Luke.
Double-breasted.
Double-breasted. Yes! Every channel, baby, every channel. And you both, the Rycroft brothers, look in your part. You stand there, proud, going through the plans in your mind of what to do in the after party and how best to make of your evening at your brother's wedding. You see your father, your mother, sat along the chairs, all nicely situated. The flowers and feathers that have been carved in the stone arches to give representation of the House of Eagles and such. It's very beautiful, very simplistic, but very beautiful. It's known to many as the Eagle's Perch, because when you look away from where you and your brother are stood, it looks out and down into the valley of the province of the House of Eagles, and has a awe-inspiring scene as you look west across the entirety of Ravenholm. Your brother's clearly nervous. You give him the, "Don't worry, brother, I'm here. It's going to be fine. You two have been together years. It's totally fine." You stand there, and you notice your grandfather walk round and take place between you. "Boys, on your best behaviour today." You both nod as grandfather will give you a clip. But you then quickly realise that your grandfather is the one performing the ceremony. The music stops and the tune changes to a very soft, light, welcoming tune. And towards the back of the church/temple, the doors open, and you see in a beautiful custom-made outfit, just from the shoulders flowing down, her hair done up beautifully with braids, you see Elva walking up the aisle. She's taking her steps. You nudge your brother in that well done bro sort of manner. He gives you a look of, you should change one day, Harry. But you both hold your breath as the honour guard in their eagle armour that is more for look than it is actual functionality flank Elva and walk Stefan's bride-to-be up the aisle. She takes place next to Stefan, and your grandfather proceeds with the ceremony, and you look away from the orb. Care to sit with your friends, Scared Eagle? And you see them all sound stumps.
Harry is still trying to tell himself it's not real. However, the tears on his face would say otherwise, and he takes a seat.
Harry's in a slightly different state to you lot. As you see him take a seat. As you all sort of like realise you're all here, you quickly notice that the stumps that you're sat on are in a semicircle, all facing towards Oro, who is just stood. The first Ash told me he was coming. She introduced you long before our meeting. She says you require my aid. I will give it as best I can, But no, this realm is not mine to control. I am merely a custodian of it. You must walk its ways yourself. So, what do you wish of my aid, if it is possible?
Nero kind of straighten himself up and just try and pull himself together and just be like, I need to find my brother and Neculi.
The one who carries the broken pieces. I know of him. He tells the folk here his name is Arnulf. But his echoes tell me he is Stefan.
That's correct.
He is a thief, and the realm will not reward thieves.
My brother is not a thief.
If you were to walk his echoes, you would see why. He is stealing himself from a time that is not his. He is powerful in the arcane arts, one I have not seen enter this realm. My groves have never witnessed such a footstep.
He is powerful. But he's not a thief.
Then why does he steal so?
He was broken.
Very much. His shards are within the echoes and also outside. The fiends that performed this attack on your brother. They wield magics not known to your material realm.
Well, my grandfather was studying them, and we were trying to find out more. It's... Can you help?
As I said, I will give you my best, but I cannot promise aid I do not have to give. I can guide you along the groves. I can advise you when and when not to look. But it is still your choice and your grove. There are no lies here. Only the echoes of yourself.
We'll kind of give him a sidelong look at that. We would appreciate your aid.
Finally, before Stefan manages to cause any more trouble for himself and for everything here.
There will be great pain and great success if Stefan achieves his healing in the way he is trying to.
Do you know what he's trying to do?
It appears he is collecting himself to make one. But that is not the way of an echo. If he takes an echo from its... I know not the word.
Go with place.
Place. Then Stefan will be missing from that place.
Understood.
he's essentially basically killing echoes of himself by absorbing them, using them.
He sort of almost goes cross-eyed. Yes.
So we find him, we stop him, and we get him out of here before he causes any more disruption. Agreed?
Sapphire looks over to Ari.
You will need to remove his anchor from here. His permanency that has been given him through magic.
Do you know what that is?
The one who wields the wooden sword.
We have to remove Nikolai.
I know not his name.
How, and I apologize if this is too many questions, how do you remove something from, how do you remove an anchor?
There are many ways. You pull it from the sea. You crush it with a large item. You magic it away. But the one with the wooden sword anchors Stefan to this realm.
So we send him back. That makes Stefan follow.
It would no longer anchor Stefan.
But would that no longer anchor Stefan anywhere?
Stefan and yourselves can leave at any time you so wish. But Stefan is taking advantage of his permanency here. He seems confused when he's trying to describe Nikolai.
When you say we need to remove his anchor, I think I understand.
You do? Cass is like, share with class. You're following this?
I mean, it's like the anchors in the Copper Forest.
The realm of DnD5e. I have seen this many times.
They had anchors that they needed to protect, because if the anchors got destroyed, then more fiends would come through.
Anchor is a common magical
You also get them on
component.
big boats, Harry. It could be anything. I can't even begin to think of how we could safely remove Nikolai from here. But we need to find them first.
Yeah, we need to find them. But if we can find them, we need to try and send Nikolai back. Otherwise, the alternative is I can't. No. No.
Then that's what we do.
Unicorns can travel between planes.
It's not a question I've heard asked before, I'll be honest.
Because if they can, it'll be easy enough to send him back.
I mean, anything can travel through planes. It's how easy it can do it.
And we kind of...
You've all been to the Copper Forest. we're all here. We've been to the realm of souls. We've been. But I wouldn't say all of those were easy.
I'm sure we'll find an appropriate and safe way to untether Antonio from this place.
But first we need to find him.
Of course. So let's make that our first priority. And we
Still
will
don't
cross
get-
the bridge when we come to it.
I still don't get how my amulet did what it did in the first place. This whole everything to do with this doesn't make any sense.
How so? He asks you, Sapphire.
Sorry, what?
How so?
How so?
Right.
You said
I had I had an amulet that was gifted to me by my teacher, specifically it could sense and let me know when there was a lot of echo-based magic happening. When I was in the room with Stefan, he was like unconscious and flashing and stuff. I tried to use it to sense echoes like I've done many times before, and it shattered and then they disappeared.
you speak of an horizon amulet. There are a few of us that graced the realms beyond the echoes and gifted these amulets. For there are echoes that get lost and do not travel the way they are meant to. But right now, and he sort of looks around, we are at peace and there are no echoes. Your amulet was the final push to bring Stefan and the wielder of the wooden sword here. Like a component in an arcane spell.
Okay.
He seems pretty confident that he's just explained everything.
Sapphire's nodding as if he did understand.
Yeah,
everything.
mate, yeah.
He's a very much a yep.
Yep, yep. Now, if you need rest, I can offer it. Or we can walk the bridge. And as he gestures, there is a... You have no idea how long rope bridge going across a canyon 1,000 feet across, making every Indiana Jones movie look like it were done on 50 quid. And that's a Dungeon Master description.
Eat your heart out there, sir.
Give me that wink.
Onwards.
Yeah.
I'm ready to move on, yes.
No.
Then we shall do so. A week from now. Because it's 11 o'clock.
God damn it.
So, oof, that went alright. We're going to call the session there, kids. It's 11
It was
o'clock.
good session one.
Oh,
Yeah, good
that's-
session one, guys.
Good session one for us.
Gosh.
You speak as if you know our characters really well for session.
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
you've really...
That session 0 was just so well done, guys. Like,
Yeah.
really well done. Like, loads of detail.
Session 0...
Quite long though for a
It-
session.
Yeah, session
Felt
0, like a
like we've done
year-long
45
session
sessions.
0. Yeah, yeah.
9 pages of notes for session 1. Wow.
So, thank you very much for watching, following, sticking around through the break and such. Remember the charity that we're going to be throwing out. The 24-hour stream is on the. I didn't even tell you what we're doing. I just said we were doing a charity stream. It's a 24-hour one-shot. I will be dungeon mastering for the Short Rest Tavern party. They will be playing in the world of Colossus, and their one-shot will heavily impact this lot's campaign. So.
Yeah.
It's on the 24th of July.
It's on the 24th of July.
Because you didn't actually say when it was.
Yeah.
We're doing a charity stream. Be there.
Yeah.
Runs away.
So thank you very much. Take care of yourselves. We're going to go away now, and I think we're streaming this Thursday our Cyberpunk 5e game, which is really cool. Carbon2185, check it out. Shanna's not even going to know who we are.
She's not live.
She's not even going to
My
know
love's
who I
live.
am.
Let's say Beth's live.
Oh,
Yeah. Yep.
we'll raid my love, or your love. You know what I mean.
She's everyone's love.
Everyone-
She's tis my love.
Raid
Which
TF
makes for
my
great conversations.
Yep.
Is my love.
Right,
Yeah,
cool.
tis my love.
Right, take care of yourselves, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please keep spreading the love. I want my 600 followers back. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Hooray. So bye-bye, players.
Bye-bye,
Bye,
players.
players.
Yeah.